Well, good evening and welcome to America First Abilene. This is Tuesday, August the 4th, 2026. What a time to be alive. We are your hosts here. To your right of me is Chris Turner here, Republican Precinct Chair. And I'm Jason, and we've got, so Sunday was a busy day. For me, I got interviewed by a Spanish-speaking filmmaker. Chris already knows this. And this fella came here to Abilene, and he spoke to a number, maybe he may have spoken to somebody you know. It was Edgar Mundu doing a documentary on data centers. I guess a couple of the folks that they spoke to were more or less Democrats, they felt. But anyway, we had a great conversation. Those clips will be coming out soon. And he's supposed to tag me, and I'll pass along the shorts and then the entire documentary. Thank you to Edgar Mundu and his film crew for coming through and making their documentary about us in the data center.
Yeah, that should be really interesting to see how it all plays out. And sounds like they kind of called it right down the middle for the most part.
Yeah, they seemed very, like, we had a great conversation. Like I told you, Chris, it went from data centers to the stuff that we talk about on our weekly shows, you know. So anyway, that was great. And then that same evening, I got a very fascinating interview with Christopher Harlan, from up there in New York, who was a witness to the September 11th attacks. He was there at a nearby building when the first tower was struck by the first plane, and he witnessed the second strike live. And it was horrifying, and it changed his life. His testimony is amazing. He was a wild partying kind of guy at the time, and because of that, he had actually missed work a previous day. So fate had it that he would be there on the ground when this would go down. And for 20 years, he said he blamed Muslims and really bought the official narrative. And over time, he has recently, I guess, seen the light. Many folks knew immediately there were problems with it because of the rapid collapse of the buildings.
Yeah.
Of course, it came to light that there was the Project for a New American Century the year previous to the attacks, in which we would call neocons like Paul Wolfowitz, Dick Cheney, and those types were actually had a document called Rebuilding America's Defenses, I believe. And in that document, they basically said that they would need a new Pearl Harbor event so that they could go on these crusades in the Middle East for resources and I guess global strategy, whatever they're going to use as a justification for that. 9/11 was the perfect justification. We contend that it was a false flag event conducted by certain individuals, made to blame others. And in my opinion, the setup was intentional. The first tower struck means all the cameras of the world are on the complex. So the public was watching live when that second plane hit. I think that was trauma-based mind control done through the media. And so folks like my mom and normal people who were not at work that day, or maybe people that were at work, were seeing it live, and that terrifies you, that changes you.
Yeah, I remember specifically being in school my senior year when it happened, and the first one we kind of heard something, and they rolled in the camera, they rolled in the old school TVs and stuff, and we watched the second one hit live from in school.
No way.
Yeah, right at Abilene High.
That is insane, Chris. So, I didn't even think about school kids watching it live.
Yeah, they brought the TVs, the old monitors in, and we watched the second one hit.
And, you know, people for a long time have been talking about trauma-based mind control, and that they, under MK Ultra and other projects, that they actually would traumatize children to the point where they would develop what they would used to call multiple personality disorder. They don't call it that anymore, but you can really shatter a person's mind, and they're more easily controlled once you have broken their spirit and their mind.
Yeah, and I imagine, this guy, if he saw it live and he saw it as an attack not only on us as a country, but his New York,
in the entire Anglo culture. He said he researched Middle Eastern music and culture for many years, trying to understand, and he came to the revelation that they were not the true culprits, that it was course, some Middle Easterners may have been used as patsies. Certainly possible there, but there's no way that this was planned by people in a cave. And you had the giant NORAD stand down that morning that enabled these planes to come in unfettered. And you also come out later, you had the insider trading. So certain financial sectors knew something was going to happen that day, and they made a lot of money. So you got insider trading surrounding 9/11. The dancing Israelis reported, and later on the Israeli spy ring reported by Brett Hume and Carl Cameron on Fox News. Multi-part series. Can't believe this stuff came out on Fox, but it did come out, and it's still on the internet for now. I think hopefully I've got a good copy of that somewhere on DVD, because digitally, that's the kind of thing they want to remove.
Yeah.
So, and you've got the current planned merger or integration between the United States and Israel's military. Well, this is the same country that appears to have had foreknowledge of the September 11th attacks, perhaps direct involvement even.
Definitely foreknowledge and probably some kind of involvement.
Right. And it just seems that Israel is at the center of so much corruption right now. Chris, would this be an okay time? Do you want to look over the COVID? Fauci's on trial right now, or if he was under questioning last week.
He's not on trial.
Not on trial, but I'd say in the trial of public opinion.
Yeah, he's getting slammed.
Yeah, big time. And Aaron Rodgers had a few choice things to say about Dr. Fauci, didn't he?
Yeah. Is that where you wanted to go?
Yeah. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers, what he has to say about Anthony Fauci right quick. Oh, and this is going to get back to Israel. I mean, they were tyrannical with the COVID shots. If we don't get back to it, that was my main point. They forced that shot on their citizens.
Well, we can just do that now if you want.
Yeah, like no other nation did. Chris,
so you asked me to kind of look up what their involvement was when it came to the clot shot, and they had a green pass, which is a vaccine passport, which basically all it did was restrict large parts of normal life for unvaccinated people. Right. You know, can't go to events, can't do this, can't do that.
Yeah.
Unless you go get the jab. Well, they also had a public health ordinance that allowed compulsory vaccination with different fines and threats of imprisonment. Now, they didn't go out and necessarily say, "Oh, you have to get it," but you couldn't exist in a normal life without it.
You couldn't be in restaurants, for
anywhere.
Instance.
Yeah.
I remember seeing footage of armed law enforcement coming through restaurants and demanding to see people's vaccination records.
So it was a highly coercive social and economic pressure that they put on. That was the whole campaign. And as a result of that, they had 6.73 million out of the 9.3 million Israelis there are. So 6.73 out of 9.3 million took at least one jab. That's 72% of the country. And that's just at least one jab. And they were number one for doses per capita. In general, they took 18.65 million doses in Israel alone. Right. And they were number one in the doses per capita, and they were number one in share of the population. So the percentage that it took at least one shot.
And they're the ones that want to have all the intel and share weapons development with our military. That government, that tyrannical government. Chris, I see you down there. Thanks for watching, man.
Hey, man. Can't wait to watch y'all's. You go back and watch.
This is a different Chris.
Oh, my bad.
This is a guy from the high school. What is it with this show and Chris's, man? I'm getting a lot of Chris allies.
A lot of intelligent Christians.
That's right.
But anyway, that's the kind of the.
That's Israel and the jab. Okay, that's what we want to talk about. Israel and the jab.
Yeah.
But I think you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers being such a brave, one of the few brave athletes out there that just doesn't care. Right?
Well, he took a lot of flack a couple of years ago during COVID because he kind of come out and said, well, I have a status, but I did not take the jab. And he kind of him-hawed around about what he really did. And then he came out later stronger saying, no, I didn't want to take this thing and I'm not going to be bullied into it. And he was, they spent hours and hours on all the news and ESPN everywhere. Oh, he's a selfish player and he's risking his teammates and trying these experimental
therapies.
Yes, which we now know was completely safe.
Right.
We knew then they were completely safe, but they tried to lie and say it was horse paste and whatever else.
It was a hell of a lot safer than an mRNA experimental.
So anyway, he was on. They were at Pat McAfee, where they go around all over the place. He's on ESPN now.
Yeah.
He's probably their biggest show on ESPN. And they were in Pittsburgh doing a training camp type thing because that's where Aaron Rodgers is now. He's the quarterback of the Steelers. This is going to be his last final season before he retires. He was a long-time Green Bay Packer and then a Jet for 2 years. But this is his second year in Pittsburgh now, and it's going to be his last year before he retires. Anyway, they asked him a football question. How do you feel? Are you ready for the season? And he opened up by saying, well, I'm going to plead the fifth. Like that coward Anthony Fauci just went the next 10 minutes just blasting him about how he lied about everything, and now he don't want to say nothing.
Kudos to ESPN for even broadcasting.
For real. That's not something, that I'm sure Big Disney was not happy about that.
I'm sure that they'll be hell to pay for it, but it's already out there.
That's one thing that Pat McAfee's kind of known to let his guests say what they want to say to a point.
That's great.
Which is not the norm on ESPN at all. And
hats off to Aaron Rodgers. You are a legend.
Yeah. I have a whole new respect for Rodgers standing up about.
Me too, man. What a hero.
Yeah, he just lambasted him. If you haven't seen it, you should go put Aaron Rodgers goes after Anthony Fauci in your Google. And it's worth the watch.
And he's one of the few examples where, people worship these athletes. This guy actually, I don't mind him taking the money and having a good lifestyle because he's earned every penny of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's definitely got some hippie tendencies. He likes to go try that ayahuasca stuff and, but he's right on the vaccine.
Medical freedom, that's all we ask.
Yes. Here. Now, did you want to kind of go over the whole Fauci diaries while we're here?
God, yes.
So if you haven't been paying attention before this whole, I plead the fifth, I'm not going to say anything. The reason that came about is they got a hold of his official diaries, and all throughout the COVID era, every day he was jotting down what he really thought. Not what he was saying publicly, but what he really thought. Yeah. And it's two totally different things. Yeah. And I'm just going to go over a couple quick things that he said in his diary, but then came out and knowingly lied to us, the public, about. So he said he made multiple references to how he didn't think school lockdowns and closures were necessary, but publicly he went on and said, yes, we've got to shut down everything, took credit for that.
Mm-hmm. Shut down your kids' schools.
Yes.
Shut down businesses.
And in March 9th, he even advised Governor Cuomo for New York to close down schools there.
Yeah.
And on. It just went throughout the whole country. But that's not the big part. The big part was for years he told us, it came from a wet market. It was the bats. It was this, that. That's how COVID started. It was not the lab leak. Well, we all knew better. It was the Wuhan, leak. We knew that from the start.
Yeah.
Well, so did he, because in January 26th of 2020, he said the market was not the source at all. He knew that. And then on the 31st and February 1st, he said again that there's multiple scientists raising deliberate insertions when we all know it really came from the lab. Pretty much is what he said.
Insane.
Yeah, and he continued to lie all the way through. He lied to Rand Paul. That's one of the things he got pardoned for.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went on. Now, get this. He used to be completely anti-mask, pretty much. He even said on the 60 Minutes episode in March 8th of 2020, there's no reason for the public to wear a mask, period.
Yes.
And he said, and then the 31st, he said, oh, well, we were probably too strong in saying that the mask didn't work. And then he came out in 2021. Everybody should wear 1 mask, 2 masks, 3 masks, 5 masks. If you're not wearing a mask, you're bad.
Everybody that except him, that is.
Yeah. Of course, he didn't wear them famously at the baseball game. He wasn't having one on.
Yeah, that's what I'm really thinking about.
But again, so while he's saying one thing in this diary, he's completely saying the other publicly.
Yeah.
And that went on and on for the various things. You can go look it up for yourself if you want the full deal. But the point is he lied about just about everything.
Oh, the pulmonary issues. The 3 blood clots you were telling me, Chris?
All right. Yes. So on December 22nd, 2020, he very publicly got the jab and said, yeah, I've got it. Well, in June 19th of 2021, he wrote in his diary that after getting a CT scan and speaking with his doctors, that the records came out that he had a pulmonary infarction on December 19th, 2021. So 6 months after he got the thing, he definitely had one with 3 blood clots, is what we understand.
The clot shot. It was called the clot shot,
Yes.
like you
Now,
were reminding me for a reason.
While we can't definitively say that's 100% why he got that, it sure fits the bill of what we know now of it causing things like that.
It's a known side effect.
Yes, 100% is. And that was, like I said, within about 6 months, which fits the timeline of what could have happened there.
Yeah. These imbeciles putting up posters of Anthony Fauci with the word hero on it. Like, what world are you living in?
Yeah, I saw some on the K-Texas page arguing, oh,
Pathetic.
he did so good for what he could, and he's great. You know, the whole Lord Fauci thing. Unbelievable. He's one of the biggest scumbags there ever was. And his diary exposed himself.
People that are making excuses for Fauci, at this point, you just need to go get yourself sheared in the barnyard.
Yeah. You're even worse than the people who refuse to criticize Trump.
I mean, pull it out, y'all. Pull your head out. And so, on COVID tyranny, do we want to talk any more about that, Chris, or move on?
I think that's pretty good. I think I might do an article for the Buffalo Gap paper on the whole thing to sum it up a little better, longer, in better form. But as far as just the basic message you need to get from that, he lied. He knew he lied. He told the truth in his diary, and then when he got called out for it here at this latest meeting, then he don't want to say nothing. He has nothing to say anymore to the Congress.
It's kind of like the THC issue. It's like it's medical freedom on trial here. We'll see, because like ivermectin, like hydroxychloroquine, and the other more cheaper treatments, you've got the government trying to regiment pharmaceuticals and liquor, the equivalent of pharmaceuticals and liquor, on us.
Yeah.
But THC tyranny is something I guess we'll get to in a minute. Just one more time before we leave the subject. We're talking about Israel and its COVID tyranny, and their possible involvement with 9/11. All that is in the episode I did on Sunday with Christopher Harlan, and he was the 9/11 witness. Amazing. My audio is terrible. My video is terrible. But if nothing else, watching it for Christopher's testimony, it's amazing. Please go watch. And I told Chris earlier, that was such a great job you did, man, with that interview. When you see this, cheers to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, we'll get that. I'll probably tonight or tomorrow night. I'll get it on YouTube and the Rumble account for sure, at least.
That'd be awesome.
Up in full. So
yeah, I hate watching myself on it because my end sucks so bad, but it really is worth it to hear Christopher's story, and we'll be back with talking to him more in the future. Yep. So anyway, yeah, that concludes that segment. We talked about the Fauci diaries and him experiencing a vaccine injury and not reporting it to the public, and having it treated by the top doctors in the nation, while the normal guys suffered and they denied their vaccine injuries like they always have.
I will say that while I'm thinking about the Fauci thing, what was it? The Attorney General, I guess, in Florida, has said he believes that the pardon only covers federal stuff, and that he thinks they can come after him from the state level in Florida and still prosecute Fauci there.
I would love.
And he's like moved. That's one of his main goals, is to come after Fauci. So hopefully he can. Hopefully RAG, Ken Paxton, will take notice and do the same.
Yes,
because he's already tried to come after him a little bit.
Even if we have to cut him in two, half to put in Florida and half to bring to Texas.
Either way, there's many states that should bring charges.
Yeah.
Because he deserves to be rotting in prison for this.
He really does. I mean, a guy who already was infamous for how he treated the AIDS when AIDS was first, on the scene, and he was saying you could get it through casual contact. The guy's always wrong. I mean, we're told he's such a genius, but he's always wrong. Hey,
you cannot question the science.
Oh yeah, I forget. Especially when they have their constitutional rights, so they don't have to explain what they did. Well, I don't know if he had that right. I guess that time will tell with that, but I don't know if he had a real, true right to a Fifth Amendment protection, seeing as how he was pardoned and he gave an opening statement.
Well, so the way I understood the breakdown is it wasn't so much that he wanted to like come out and say, well, hey, I lied earlier, because that was already protected under the pardon, all his previous lies. But if he didn't come out and double down, like he would either had to say, hey, I lied this whole time, here's what I really thought, and I'm a fraud and I'm full of it, or he had to double, triple down and say, yeah, I was telling the truth the whole time publicly. No, never mind that. And then he would have lied and knew things they could have came after him for, because those wouldn't have been covered. That would have been a new
crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's why he just took the fifth.
Right.
But
I mean, it's not a mystery why he took the fifth. I think some of their antics, the hearings, is that what you want to call it? A hearing, question and non-answer session was very disappointing to the American people. And I actually, if no justice comes out of this, I think actually Rand Paul and them will pay a price.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they can actually do federally. That's the problem.
If they can't do anything federally, they should really get behind and support the, like you said, the state prosecutions.
Yeah, they should do that for sure. And Trump immediately came out the same day. He's like, well, I'm going to respect Biden's pardon. First of all, I don't think it was Biden. I think it was an auto pen pardon. Mm-hmm. And two, what? I mean, that's another case of the Trump administration not going after anybody when they had the opportunity.
If it was actually Biden doing it, he was a man who was unfit for office at the time, we now know.
Yeah, and I think he probably made sure to do the one for his son, but I don't think he really cared about any of the other pardons. That was other people doing them.
Well, I think somebody said, this is very important, Joe. We must protect the godfather of medicine here, Mr. Science.
Yeah, we have to protect the science, Joe.
Man, what an absolute scandal. And Anthony Fauci, we're not going to rest until he is exiled or in prison.
100%.
At any rate, what do you want to move on to next, Chris? I think the draft. All this talk about a military draft in the United States is very alarming. And from what we can tell, December of 2025, legislation was passed that would automate the registration process for the draft. And more recently, Chris, I'm going to let you articulate this part. More recently, some more alarming news just kind of came down the pike regarding a draft.
Well, I wasn't really prepared to...
Well, I'm sorry. From what we understand, the White House requested a bid basically to war game or create a simulation for them actually enacting a draft here in the U.S.
Yes. Under the guise that, hey, if we ever had to use it for military or emergency, that, hey, we have a program that in theory could do a draft, a military draft of, I think the number has gone up to 42 years old.
Yes.
It
was 35 was the maximum age at which you could be drafted. And wait a minute, does that mean that the December the 25th of, or I'm sorry, that December 20 of 25 legislation passed last year, that raised the age to 42?
I think
that's where you would have to do it, indeed. So they've raised the age of draft worthy individuals to where they're taking almost all able-bodied men and subjecting them to a forced military draft under a president who promised no new wars.
Right.
Woo! We are thick in it, friends. This must be opposed. Call your senator, your congressman, your friends, all the attorneys and get everybody on board opposing this, any kind of implementation of a draft, so that our young people can go die in a war that so far all it's doing is destroying our economy.
Yes. And 67% of the country are against the war right now.
Very unpopular, indeed. And also, of course, the great danger we are in with everyone having nuclear weapons. This is not a time to play around with war.
No.
Stop it now. Bring people home. You don't want to be the one that blew the world up.
Because right now, the bottom line is Republicans are about to get their ass kicked nationally and in Texas if we don't do something quick to end this war. And it's $5 a gallon for diesel here in Abilene. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. People are not able to live.
No.
All of you people who keep sending me things like, oh, all these Anthony Fauci's really been arrested and executed, and all this stuff is going on at Guantanamo Bay, and the white hats are taking care of everything. If you're seeing those videos and believing that, what you're basically being told to do is lay down, do nothing, let us destroy your country while you smoke whatever you're smoking to believe these crazy stories.
Yeah.
None of this crap ever happens, y'all. None of your QAnon stuff ever happens. People call us conspiracy theorists. Maybe so, but
yeah, I just got sent one that Fauci was found guilty of crimes against humanity at Gitmo, and he was executed in 2022.
Uh-huh.
I mean, all you do is turn your TV to see him. He was very clearly there.
Yeah.
Taking the fifth.
Yeah, and I'm dating Taylor Swift right now. Anyways, put down the pipe, folks, and get a dose of reality. In war, it has been said multiple times, the first casualty of war is the truth. And it's gone to a whole new level now of people thinking everything's going to be all right. Trump's taking care of everything. The military's got all this, bull crap.
It's cope, and it's ridiculous.
What that is lay down GI propaganda so they can run you over.
Right. And the Democrats do it to their side at the same amount, but I used to think the Republicans were much smarter than that, and they're not. It's not, at least not some of them.
Indeed. So anyways, no one is coming to save you. We got to do it ourselves. And Chris and I are here fighting it in the information war, hoping it doesn't come to a physical war. And so let's fight it here. They say let's fight them overseas so we don't have to fight them at home. That's the opposite of what they produce. They go overseas, they destabilize the country, and then they come over here, and you've got them moving into communities in Texas. And there's many more Muslim population. Not all Muslims are bad. But you got a lot more here, y'all, than you had when 9/11 happened. So you're not fighting them over there. So you don't have to fight them over here. You're stirring them up over there. So they move into your neighborhood and put up mosques.
Mm-hmm.
And take your tax dollars in the process.
Yep.
So anyways, the war is a crock. The Strait of Hormuz was open before this started. So it's got to stop. And you were telling me earlier about CENTCOM contacting military.
So apparently, according to a bunch of sources that CNN and others, take that for what you will, but the CENTCOM sent out emails to a bunch of the military and said, if you've got any innovative or new ideas on how to end this war, let us know, basically. Like, we don't know what to do here, is what it basically came off as. And, I mean, I don't know that they know how to get out of this war because there's a multi-pronged problems. They could just get up and walk away and say, we're done with this. But then that looks as like a loss. And it looks like, Trump is not going to do that because then all the neocons would immediately paint him as he got soft and he left the war and he abandoned Israel, our greatest ally, and blah, 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 blah. But that's the real problem. Every time we try to do any kind of a peace deal, Israel says, no, we're not going to do that, and we're going to keep bombing Lebanon or whoever we want to bomb. And you're not going to do nothing about it.
I think we should say America first, come home,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sorry
if you continue this crap, Israel, we're going to cut you off financially.
Indeed. That should have happened a long time ago.
It should never have been that way, but yes.
How many, is it 3.8 billion a year or something like that? Okay. And now we have the integration
now they're going to try to give them everything.
I think we haven't seen any developments with that, but that's going forward to the Senate. J.D. Vance could grow a backbone and perhaps force a negotiation. Trump could be exorcised from the demonic influence he's under and veto the bill. But short of that, you're going to have a military that's merged with the Israeli military. I mean, through intelligence, weapons development, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Tucker Carlson, once again, reported it's not going to happen. We'll see if he's right about it.
Hopefully he's right.
I'd love for him to be right on that issue. Like Tucker Carlson is normally right, He's normally an alarmist, but I was really surprised to hear him, say that. So maybe there's some truth to it. And I'm not saying alarmist in a bad way. He's sounding the alarm that needs to be sounded. We're alarmists too. We've been trying to warn you about a false flag terror attack, something perhaps even bigger than September 11th, because the American people are so decidedly against this war. I can really see them blowing up a city, maybe blowing up a state or another country to get people behind this war, because it's just like before Pearl Harbor, the American people were 80% against being involved. And after Pearl Harbor, of course, people were hopping mad, and that trauma-based mind control set in, and they suddenly were willing to go to war.
Right.
So Pearl Harbor was a setup. I think, that's pretty much undebatable now with the dismantling of radar equipment, and Pearl Harbor left vulnerable so that Pearl Harbor could be attacked and get the American people behind the war. We face a very similar threat today, only in a much greater magnitude, I believe.
Yeah.
Chris, do you think that's being alarmist?
No, I think that's a fair take on where we're at.
Right, because we haven't talked about that lately, but I really have a really bad feeling in my guts. But the only thing keeping them from doing something like that is that there is so much awareness about September 11th. Like I said, my guest here tonight, he believed the official story for decades, and now he has real concerns. It's really interesting. A guy from New York sounding just like us, Chris. I mean, he could be right here at this table with us. God willing, hopefully we can do that one day. Christopher, cheers to you. Thanks for that great interview. Y'all, please go check that out. And thanks for uploading all that stuff, Chris. Yeah. I really do appreciate it. And what else are we going to talk about tonight? Oh, I think we need to talk THC, don't we?
Yeah, that's next for sure.
THC Tyranny in Texas.
So if you haven't been paying attention, the Texas Supreme Court came down on the 31st of July and said, hey, there was previous an injunction from 2021, basically, that stopped it from being a THC was listed in 2021 as a Schedule I controlled substance. And they put an injunction in and it stopped. And they reversed that starting at 31st of this year, just now, 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, again, another end around to try to ban as much of the THC stuff as they can, because they couldn't do it legislatively through Dan Patrick and Charles Perry's efforts.
We're not talking about crack cocaine. We're not talking about methamphetamine. We're talking about a plant.
Yeah. What is illegal now is Delta 8 THC, Delta 10 THC, THCP, THCA, and a bunch of other, different variations of synthetic Delta 9. So basically, heavy, probably 60-70% of all THC.
There's Big Mac, Mr. McEnroe. Thank you for watching, sir. Science guy right there.
So this is going wild. So just to give you an idea of what a Schedule I controlled substance is: fentanyl, heroin, LSD, and now THC.
Yeah, we all know that THC, that reefer, the reefer is just like heroin.
Right. And fentanyl.
Unbelievable.
That's
folks.
Crazy work.
Texas is going back into the Stone Ages, and the Republicans are apparently trying to blow their own foot off with a shotgun politically.
Yeah. But to help you understand what this truly means, though, so if you have less than a gram, which isn't even one thing you buy at the damn gas station, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, not even one of those little smoking devices.
Right.
That's the prison jail time for that now is a state jail felony and up to 180 days to 2 years in jail and a $10,000 fine if you get caught with that.
Unbelievable.
And from 1 to 4 grams, 4 grams also is nothing. I know there's multiple ones that have 2 to 4 grams in the thing.
Right.
One of those with 4 grams is 2 to 10 years in not just jail, but the Texas Department of Correctional Facility, like actual prison.
Outrageous.
And $10,000 fine. And then from there, if you have more than 4 grams but less than 400 grams, it's almost, you can get up to 20 years and a $10,000 fine. And now if you're a store or you're got just a whole bunch, now keep in mind, all this you could have gotten legally before 31st. But now even if you're sitting at home, you had a big stash at home with 400 grams. You can get 5 years to life in prison, in actual prison, and a $50,000 fine for that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Lee Jacobson is watching.
What's up, Lee?
Up with Texas. Remember the Alamo, my friend. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. And this is why, our Taylor County Republican Party came out strong against the full ban, because it just doesn't make sense. You're shutting down all those small businesses. And that's something that's happened since the 31st. I've seen multiple people come on, social media. Well, we had to shut it down. We can't operate anymore because they made too many things illegal.
Right.
So we can't continue.
And that was showing that before this latest coup against the Taylor County Republican Party, they were, and I was part of it briefly, we were really for individual and medical freedom.
Yes. It's not that way now, clearly, because the new people that came on are not for medical freedom, even though Jennifer claims she was. And then half the people that were on our side just sold out to them. So
yeah, really sad.
It is sad. But Lee, speaking of Lee, he was one of the only ones who stood up and was voting the right way.
Hats off
so
to Lee
shout
Jacobson.
Out to Lee.
Yeah, he's a guy who means what he says.
You're right. And he's a very believable person, and he will stand up for what he believes in. I just want to make this clear, though. We went back to Schedule 1 in Texas over the THC. Meanwhile, federally, Trump just changed marijuana from classification 1 to classification 3 because it was so ridiculous that it was in the same category as fentanyl or heroin or whatever. But they're going the exact opposite way in Texas now.
Yeah.
It is literal tyranny, 100%. That's what we're talking about.
Or you drive 3 hours west and it's completely legal,
right,
like walking into a beer store.
Yes.
Oh, and I want to address, we've got Dr. McEnroe. I call him Dr. McEnroe. He's the real science guy. And he's asking what's going on with the THC shop. It's more than that. We're talking about a statewide ban on it. That would that destroy what is the economic impact on all these stores throughout the state?
Right. Well, there's 8,000 plus. There was 8,000 plus stores a year ago. Right now, they're dropping every day. There's stores. I don't know how many have shut down in Abilene, but I know for a fact across Texas, I've seen at least 20, 25 shut down yesterday. So it's going to be a problem. And the longer this goes on, there's a current lawsuit right now to get another injunction against all this because it's bull. If anything, Texas should have to go through the legislature and pass something that the governor would sign, because he stopped the last one when they pushed through some nonsense for the ban in SB 3. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, in the meantime, after that, they used the Department of Health and Human Services to do end arounds to try to ban stuff. And then they brought this back, which banned stuff. So, yes, it's putting major, major pressure on all these businesses that they'll either have to completely cut their inventory down to nearly sell next to nothing or shut down.
So they can shove a data center down your throat and pull off your power supply, but you can't walk around carrying a flower. You can't sell a flower or buy a flower. When it is bringing in, I'm sure in New Mexico, I'd like to see what the tax revenue is, but there's cannabis shops all over the place in New Mexico, every town. And you don't see crime. You don't see people laying around in the streets like fentanyl. It is not fentanyl, folks. If you're wondering why this is happening, Chris has been great about covering this, and he writes for the Buffalo Gap Roundup News, as well as doing all the other things he does. But you've been talking, Chris, for a long time about the influence of the alcohol in the pharmaceutical lobby here. Yeah. It's because they want you drunk or on pills. Well, that's why.
I mean, Charles Perry, our state senator here, recently just messed up and said in a live, they had a big old thing about, this is your brain on drugs. Is one of the most propaganda. They had the Abilene police chief there, but they had no people to speak against shutting down the THC. But everybody, this that bad, and it does this, and it makes you crazy, and propaganda after propaganda. Well, he got up there, and Charles Perry said, well, I don't know what this means, but I know right now that what do you say, that the
alcohol.
The alcohol, they're happy that this is happening or whatever. That of course they are, because it's taken.
How stupid is that, man?
He basically said that Well, for the first time ever, the alcohol, they feel like their businesses are getting affected by THC, so I know they're going to be thrilled by this.
Lord. These are the idiots you have representing you.
Yeah.
They don't know why the liquor lobby is ecstatic about THC bans.
Right. And this is the same guy who told us that if you drink one of the THC drinks, you'd be high for 4 days straight.
Okay. Okay, buddy. Well, anyway, Republicans, Texas, you are going to lose your freedom of choice. A lot. I've worked with kids in the past. Their parents swear by these THC oils for their kids. Yeah. This is saving people's lives, y'all.
Well, how many veterans and chronically ill people, older people,
absolutely,
use it just to survive and go to sleep at night?
If you're not aware, Google the endocannabinoid system. It's in your body and in everybody else's body too. And this was what turns cannabis basically into a medicine. I know Chris is in this for the political reasons. This guy is clean as a whistle right here. But there's a lot of Republicans that just are aware. This is an individual rights issue. This is a medical liberty
issue.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's also a lose your butts issue because the Democrats are on top of this.
Yeah.
And the Democrats are on top of the data center issue. When James Tallarico, Chris, is up there talking and I'm agreeing with him, Republicans, dude, you let this guy take the lead on this issue?
Yeah. And if you don't think Republicans out there that this is going to be an issue in Texas, I know multiple people who are like, they kind of middle of the row independents. Shout out to my friend Daniel out there. He literally said, you know what? I'm done with this. The Republicans don't deserve my vote. They're going to take away THC. I'm going to vote for the Democrats.
Right.
And he doesn't really care how insane they may be on other things. It's become a 1 or 2 vote, 2 issue vote for him. And that's where they're at. And all of them are going the right way on THC, the Democrats. Mm-hmm. Whereas Republicans, by and large, are on the wrong side of this. And it's going to cost Republicans.
The Democrats who nobody wanted to vote for 6 months to a year ago. Nobody liked the Democrats, it didn't seem like. And now you've got people like me and Chris who are considering voting for a Democrat or two. If you want to, Clayton Tucker at least had me considering him.
Yeah, I'm still considering it.
Then they dug up that damn clip of him. He's wearing his cowboy hat, talking about George Floyd, some kind of a...
Well, I'm in no impression that he's not woke. But the thing about that
is he can't affect it.
Yeah, all that, like the woke crap, it can't do anything as agriculture commissioner.
Right.
What he actually can affect is data centers, THC, stuff like that actually has to do with things. And, he's right on those issues. So we'll see. And his opponent is not interested in doing anything, the Republican.
Well, and y'all, when it comes to the George Floyd issue, listen, I'm not for police brutality. I see him doing it. I see tyranny. We are against tyranny, obviously, here. We want to, I keep saying.
Well, I don't think that was, that's a much longer conversation, but I think the George Floyd thing was not what it was cracked out to be either. I
see good, decent, law-abiding citizens getting harassed by the police. That's what gets my blood boiling.
Yeah.
With George Floyd, when I found out he had held a woman at gunpoint, and one of the people in his crew hit her in the head with the gun. This was a violent criminal. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of normal people that are gunned down or wrongfully arrested all the time, and you don't see that in the news.
No.
At all. So I think Chris and I think we both call ourselves advocates for a freer, happier, prosperous, and more peaceful world. I don't think you would disagree there, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes freedom. That includes no war, because the world is just way too delicate for that kind of thing now. The way it's nuclear armed to the teeth with maniacs like Israel, and you got Pakistan and India, all have nukes. And it's just a hair away, folks. Nuclear annihilation could be just a hair away. We've got to ban these weapons. We've got to get our heads screwed on straight. I am fully for Second Amendment rights for the people. But these governments shouldn't have the ability to destroy the entire planet with the push of a few buttons, basically.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Before we end off all this, there was a development on data centers because of the pressure that we brought and all Texans across the, left, right, and in the middle.
Yes.
So
Good news here, folks. Please stay tuned.
This came out yesterday on the 3rd. Governor Greg Abbott came out and made a big presentation saying that he wants a full-on moratorium on all the data centers that are coming in front of, ERCOT, the power grid, basically.
Yeah. And
there's 1,600 plus data center projects currently in front of them. Well, he's saying until that there can be a full audit, and I'll explain what that audit includes.
Please.
But we're talking about more than potentially 1,800 projects and over 474 gigawatts of proposed demand on the grid. Just to give you a look, the one here in Abilene is like 1.4 gigawatts.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another 473 gigawatts out there that are in the line to get approved.
Right.
That's roughly 90% of all the things in front of them are data centers right now, 425 gigawatts worth.
Yeah.
But so what it is, it's a moratorium for the moment. It doesn't mean it's a ban. It's not that.
Right.
And the moratorium can be lifted after they go through the audit. So we need to put those caveats in there. But it's a good thing because it shows that the pressure that we're all doing is pushing them in that direction at least.
This halts an enormous number of projects.
It slows them down for sure.
Yeah, for the time being.
And that is the game that matters because, if they keep getting slowed down in Texas, they'll pull up and go elsewhere in other states. And I say good riddance.
Right.
We don't need any more. We have 700 already.
Well, and Lee brought up that the problem is that Abbott is taking money from the data center people. We know that.
Yeah.
And,
for sure, he was one of the leading, figures out there. Like, hey, we're open for business to the data centers. Come on in. We love. Well, now the pushback has come back from the left, the right, and the center.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, this ain't gonna fly. I've got to at least give the appearance that I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not he's actually going to do something, if he got reelected or not, I don't know. But this is something, and if it's done well or properly, it'll expose some of these projects for how big and bad they are for the water and the grid and everything else.
Yes, indeed.
So here's what the audit includes. Number one, a financial self-sufficiency test and public assistance. So basically, is the data center that's coming in able to support itself without all the abatements? Like here in Abilene, we have $4 billion worth of abatements we're giving them. It's crazy over the next 20 years.
That's to our data center alone?
Yes.
I was telling people it's $4 billion statewide.
No. That's for ours.
Oh, hell, it's worse than I said, folks.
Yes.
That's just Abilene getting a $4 billion.
We're giving 80. So the city council voted to give 85% tax abatements on all their money over the next 20 years.
Yeah.
And then the Taylor County Commissioners Court followed it up and gave 80%. So together, it's about 3.4 to 4 billion in tax abatements over 20 years. It's a crazy number.
Hey, I want you couple of wiener dogs on Facebook on the Abilene City, the City of Abilene Rants and Raves. They like to laugh at our posts.
They don't
laugh at that.
They'll never listen to this part because they don't even listen, probably.
Well, share this with them if they're giggling. Nearly $4 billion, morons.
Right. So anyway, that's the public assistance. That's the number one hurdle. So he's basically saying no more of that, no more abatements, no more anything, which would cut a lot of these out, I think, or they'd go elsewhere.
Right.
Because other other states, Utah and them, will give them that crap.
Right.
Right now, then power demands and self generation on, like, are they actually going to be able to hold their own and create their own powers like they claim, which most of them aren't. They're going to use our grid, even though they have it there as a backup. Like the one in Abilene has them as a backup,
right?
But it's not to be used unless it's for backup purposes. They're going to use our grid. And same thing, number 3 is water use and cooling. So, they say the cooling system in this one here in Abilene is much better. That's unproven at that level. But I literally drove by a water truck yesterday, and it was sitting there hooked up to the hydrant, filling up water. How many of those right now are just throwing it on the gravel to keep the dust down?
Yeah. And
we've, none of that's been checked. But all this would have to be done in the audit. And then they'd have to do a community impact mitigation to show, like for here, what it really hurt us was it's caused homelessness to go up. The price of rent is $1,000 according to Zillow. It's $1,000 higher than it was before they got here on average.
A Facebook friend commented that they had to move in with friends.
Yeah.
If you know somebody that's gone homeless over this thing, please put them in contact with us. This is a story that is not getting told often.
We'd interview them.
We would, definitely.
But community impact mitigation, that also along that is homelessness, the rent, the crime has gone up, the roads are being destroyed by all these trucks.
Yeah.
Once all this is done and they skip on to the next one and they leave, all these, there's going to be a big housing crash.
Oh my God.
And that's going to be a problem. And the last one on the list here is ownership and who's controlling the data centers, which it's the biggest of the big. It's the Microsofts, Oracles, all that. And they're billionaires in their own rights.
So that's the 5-point part of the audit.
Yes.
That is going to determine
whether they would pass. If they pass the audit, then ERCOT can go ahead and move them forward in the process, and there's still going to be a problem for us. But this should slow down everything, and if nothing else, it should expose, like the first couple, the water use, the power demand, the finances of it. Right. The finances may be the biggest one because, frankly, if they're not getting the tax abatements, a lot of them are going to just say, forget it.
Absolutely.
So it is something, and you can see that the pressure, the public pressure, is making them act.
Yeah.
But this should have been, our current Sid Miller of Agriculture Commissioner. Yep. He's been on the right side of this from the start.
A long time.
And he's been saying call for a moratorium. So
what is it with Greg Abbott? He always does some kind of colossal. This is reminding me of COVID because at first he mandated masks, and then the public pressure turned around and convinced him to make mask mandates illegal in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, he went from taking the money from the data centers now to putting this moratorium on them, and it's because the people, people like, well, don't try to fight this. Trump said, don't fight it. Just convince your community these data centers are good. The hell with you. People are waking up. They're fighting back. And just like with COVID tyranny, they're saying no to these data centers, and your voice is being heard. Keep speaking up. Keep sharing the good word. Keep us standing up to data center development in Texas because it is a pandemic itself. We've got twice the amount in Texas alone of data centers than China does in the entire nation. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yeah. In Texas alone, we have 700 either built or being built right now, and they have 386 or something like that in all of China.
Right.
So, yes.
And Lee, thank you for your comment. That's 8,000 gallons per truck when they're filled up.
Yeah. And how many trucks every day are going in and out with water?
Right.
It's insane.
And he says Abbott is a windsock.
Yeah. I think you're right about that.
But let's blow him the proper direction. People say, let's get rid of Abbott. Well, I don't know. I kind of like a guy that we can at least affect, right?
Yeah. And if we're honest, Abbott's not going to lose. The Democrat running against him never even been heard of, really.
Oh, Chris Harlan, our 9/11 witness just commented. He said, here's a question. What are these data centers actually for? And flock data, is that connected? And that's a question we've been asking, Chris.
Yeah. We don't know specifically. Well, we know what they could be used for. And, the spying. If you look at the integration thing with Israel, that would make a lot of sense what they could use those for. But nothing about them is good. Yeah, in theory, you probably need some data centers. But we've already got 4,500 across the United States. We don't need more.
Right.
All of them should be stopped. That's crazy. We have 8 times more than the next largest country is the UK. They have 500.
We just know that the data centers can't possibly be connected to all your cars requiring spyware this coming year, as well as the flock cameras going up in neighborhoods across the country.
And that's something else. The flock cameras they're getting a big pushback equally, almost like the data centers.
Indeed.
And that it's nationwide and it's Texas wide and it's everywhere. Even here in Abilene, the cops tried to do a bunch of damage control after the news covered it.
Right.
But
yes,
they've got 13 known ones here, I think, and or 19 total, and 13 are APDs or whatever it is. But
we don't know what these data centers are for, but by God, we got to build them all over Texas so China doesn't beat us in the data center race.
Yeah, and that's a bunch of nonsense.
My God, if China were cutting their arms like a goth kid, would you put more cuts on your arms so you could keep up?
We will say the pressure already kind of got the LAPD to back off a little bit on the flock cameras.
Indeed.
I think they have their woke motives to it when it comes to
Sure.
illegals, but nonetheless, they were right when they said that we can't spying too much on people. It's individual rights. All that's true, but I also think they're worried about helping ICE.
Right.
But nonetheless, I think we'll see more and more locals, whether it be the city councils or the police themselves, being pressured into saying, hey, okay, we're going to back down on this. Or
Indeed.
Because, it probably does make their job easier to be able to spy on people and find certain things, but it's not worth it to give up our essential freedoms and liberties.
No, I mean, I can see positive uses. Here's the thing. There are positive uses for flock cameras. Yeah. The problem is you've got this Epstein class that's not being prosecuted. Mm-hmm. Are they the ones watching the camera feeds?
Well, that's the thing. It's not just, first of all, even if it's just law enforcement, I would have a problem with it, but it's not. It's multiple, like all kinds of NGOs and everything can get access to these things. It's not just what it says.
Including all the agencies of the federal government,
yes.
Which there's ones you've never heard of.
And I guarantee you foreign countries are getting in on it. Old Israel, our friend.
They're about to share that data with us if this, Section 219 of the National Defense Authorization Act goes through, which we pray and we hope people stand up and talk to their senators, vote no on the U.S.-Israeli integration efforts. So, anyway, your voice is being heard. Keep speaking out. Keep fighting back. Please share this transmission. Please follow Chris and I.
Did Elise say something else, or is that old?
Let me see here. Oh, Lee said something about Texas independence. Lee Jacobson is all about it, and I'm not saying I'm not. It said Texas independence, and most of what guys have brought up goes away. Well, if we gain independence, he's saying most of our problems that we worry about.
Well, that's not necessarily. I mean, Lee, on the THC thing, this is a Texas problem. That's not even got nothing to do with the United States.
Yeah,
that's Texas being dummy.
Yes,
but there are definitely positives to that, and I am for letting the people decide. So I would never stand in the way of a vote, and that's the main thing that Texas wants is to get to a point where the people can vote on it.
Absolutely.
And I'm fully for that.
Right.
But, I would, push back a little bit that the THC issue and some other stuff is a uniquely Texas created problem.
And now that they can throw you in prison for tiny amounts of cannabis.
And Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor of Texas, is the one pushing this, the ban.
Yeah, because he's taking money from big alcohol and big pharmaceutical companies because they don't want you to use something your body can turn into medicine. They want to give you something that has 15 side effects because they've got a pill for all that too, as I said before. So the THC ban, terrible news for Texas. Fight back. Stop voting for these clowns that want to tell you what to do with your life. We're adults here, and alcohol, liquor is available everywhere, and it destroys a lot of lives. Yeah. And we think THC would probably save a lot of lives.
Yeah, and the opioids that are getting big pharma's bringing in on top of this.
Yeah.
Those are way more dangerous than a little weed or anything was.
And so, Lee, I kind of agree with you. I mean, Texas independence sounds great. I think first we're going to make sure we have individual independence. Right now, we don't even have bodily autonomy. And I'm not talking about abortion. I'm not trying to kill anybody.
That's a different thing, yeah.
That's another body in yours. We're talking about our own body and our own freedom. And this is something that is a plant. Methamphetamine don't grow on a flower, folks. Cocaine and heroin. Heroin comes from the poppy plant, but you can't take a poppy plant out of the ground and become addicted to heroin. That is a processed, whole different animal. That's what you call a controlled substance. Yeah. Marijuana has now been classified as a controlled substance, more or less in Texas.
Well, THC at least has.
Right.
Hemp, THC. Not even necessarily the marijuana, but...
Republicans are trying to destroy their cells because they're pursuing a few money. The money right now is too appealing. They can't think long term. They've got to take that money right now and take Texas back to the Stone Ages when Oklahoma to the north, there's medical freedom there for THC. And like I said, you go to New Mexico, literally 3 hours west from where we are here in Abilene. And there's a shop on every corner. There's not rampant crime. There's not all this alarmism about THC is pure fiction.
Well, it's financially driven by big tobacco, big pharma, big alcohol.
Reefer madness, bullcrap, just like out of the 1950s.
Yeah.
So anyway, we stand for freedom here, and both political parties. I'm going to vote for people who can affect our world a positive way. And if Republicans can't get on the ball, I may have to hold my nose and vote for a couple of Democrats, Chris.
Well, I will definitely not be voting for Dan Patrick, and I'll definitely not be voting for Charles Perry.
God, no.
But we'll see after that how it goes down.
Yeah. The Republicans and the conservatives need to take the lead on personal and medical freedom because we were the ones for small government. If you let the Democrats assume that identity, you are finished.
Yeah. We're already going to have a big problem with the gas prices and the war dragging down Texas Republicans as it is. And they're just giving the Democrats more ammunition. What is it doing? Between the THC and the data centers and whatever else. It's going to be a problem.
Right.
I really want I want Paxton to win over Tallarico, but, some of these races, I don't know. But we'll see. I'm just saying we've been warning from the start that this war was bad and the gas prices were bad, and now Texas is doing more self-inflicted wounds. So
I just want to say right quick, Lee Jacobson says, with affirmative outcome of the vote, and we get new Texas government, and as an honorably discharged Marine, he is all about freedom. And we know you're all about freedom.
Yeah, that's not under question, Lee.
Yeah, we're not questioning you at all, man.
No, I respect the hell out of Lee, for sure. Like I say, even in this last deal where it was me and Dan and Lee standing up for what was right and the rest of them just voting to submit to the new incoming people. But
yeah, those of us who are we are committed to the way that the Republican Party was there for personal and medical freedom and true independence. We got to stick together, do what we can, brainstorm, because they try to divide us to conquer us. We got to come together, and we're even going to get in contact with some Democrats.
What did he say about Rico and Paxton there?
Let's see here. Mr. Mack, he says, in the race between Tallarico and Paxton, as close as the media says.
If you want if I were to predict it right now, I'd say it ends up Paxton by 10 at the end of the deal. He wins by 10. But right now, the latest polling shows Tallarico up by 2. But that same polling says that Greg Abbott is almost in a dead heat with whoever the no-name Democrat is. And so you got to take that with a big grain of salt. And there's also in those polling, 6% was undecided at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think those people just never got a chance to hear what Tallarico has to say, or they wouldn't be undecided. But
yeah. A lot of Texans
again, there are many factors that are hurting Republicans, including Paxton. But I cannot believe that somebody as crazy as Tallarico. I think he actually makes Beto O'Rourke look like a good candidate. And that's how bad he is. But, we'll see. The Republicans themselves have been attacking Paxton for many years, trying to impeach him and do everything else. So the whole George Bush wing of the Republican Party has been going after him forever.
Well, some people are going to be given no choice. Let's say your child is on medical cannabis. You're going to vote probably for James Tallarico now.
See, that's the problem is that doesn't do anything because James Tallarico is running to be a federal senator now. So he has no...
What? Really?
Tallarico?
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
So Tallarico himself is not going to be in the Texas Senate or the Texas House, so he can't affect anything that Texas is doing. He could say something about it, but he could do that anyway. He's not. He's going to be a federal. He's going to be like Ted Cruz.
Right.
He's not going to be making votes for Texas. So
right.
Just to be clear, if that's your reason to vote for Tallarico, that's a bad reason because he can't even affect that.
And Paxton stood up for medical freedom, as I've said before, when he defended Dr. Mary Talley Bowden, who did the right thing during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and they were trying to punish her. And Ken Paxton is the only politician that I know of that stepped up and defended her. So hats off to Paxton on that for certain. And that's why he's going to get my vote, you know.
Yeah.
But Dan Patrick and the rest of you can get on the slow boat to North Korea if you want to continue to try to ban natural medicine as you promote the worst kinds of treatments and tyranny. So remember the Alamo, free Texas, free the United States, America First. Please join us at America First Abilene on Facebook.
And X and Rumble and YouTube. It's all the same.
Indeed. And be looking for Chris's articles in the Buffalo Gap Roundup News coming up soon.
Yeah. And special thanks to Lee and Kevin and the rest of y'all who jumped in there. And
yeah. Thank y'all for watching and commenting. You made it a really lively show tonight. This has been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got bad news and good news, but we're going to follow the truth wherever it goes.
Definitely. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time.
Yes. Good night.